Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter? There's a lot of controversy around these phrases. Today, here at Freedomists, we're talking Black Lives Matter, the phrase, the organization, and why it has become so controversial. Hey, what's up guys? Lem here, and this is Freedomists. Stop dripping dandruff in my cup, okay? That's nasty. And on this channel, we take an honest look at history, data, and philosophy to think deeper about tough issues and find ideas that actually work. This cameraman is juiced. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so, and we look forward to having you in this community. Let's just take the first phrase, Black Lives Matter. What could possibly be wrong with that statement? Black lives do indeed matter. Each life was created to matter, to have meaning, to have purpose, just like Asian lives and Hispanic lives, or dual race lives like mine, or white lives, or, put simply, like all lives. On a technical basis, they both actually can coexist well hand in hand. So how did two intrinsically correct phrases get people screaming at each other?
You can't talk to him!
Well, as it turns out, the term Black Lives Matter was actually coined by Black Lives Matter co-founder Alicia Garza in a July 2013 Facebook post following the acquittal of police officer George Zimmerman, who was the officer that shot and killed Trayvon Martin in 2013. Co-founder Patrice Kahn-Kollers then hashtagged underneath the post, Black Lives Matter. And there you have it. Black Lives Matter as a movement and as an organization was born. And this is also exactly where the confusion and controversy begins. Because the Black Lives Matter mantra is not only a correct and thought-provoking statement in a vacuum, but it is also the name to an organization with a set of beliefs and goals. Thus, the phrase Black Lives Matter is endued with multiple meanings, making for some very interesting conversations around the subject. It's actually pretty ingenious branding. It's similar to naming a congressional bill the American Happiness Bill. I mean, who is opposed to happiness for all Americans? Where are we gonna eat, brothers? Maybe that'll make me happy.
About that. Right now, we're wanting to communicate a message.
And if you are one of the few villainous numbskulls that would dare to oppose the bill, then you are generally perceived as being opposed to happiness. It makes for a good bait and switch branding and effective politics, but it hurts the country by discouraging healthy debate around the actual bill and legislation itself. The same principle is at play when it comes to Black Lives Matter. In 2020, most Americans, if not all, support Black Americans having the same standing and rights under the Constitution as everyone else. According to a Gallup poll in 2020, 96% of Americans are willing to vote for a Black president, as opposed to 38% in 1958. And, according to Gallup, Americans' willingness to approve interracial marriage between whites and blacks have risen from 48% in 1965 to 87% in 2013. Views on race in the country have improved radically in the past 60 years. There's no data to dispute this. So for nearly all Americans, the literal interpretation of the phrase Black Lives Matter is indisputable. But due to the clever branding of the organization itself, the strange paradox is that if you respond with anything other than wholehearted and enthusiastic support, then you immediately appear to not care about Black lives or somehow believe that they don't matter. Or if you try to bring attention to the fact that the lives of all colors and ethnicities, not just blacks, are lost to police shootings, or that all lives matter, you must be demeaning or opposing to the Black Lives Matter movement itself. And this is the problem with reducing politics down to sound bites and headlines and polarizing people around oversimplified phrases. A lot of confusion and hostility erupts, and it doesn't have to, because they infuse opposing parties with bad motives from the outset. Bill de Blasio out there just painting. But he doesn't care about the lives being lost, brothers! By disagreeing in any way with Black Lives Matter as an organization or movement, you are automatically associated semantically with opposing Black lives. And this is a perfect example of something called semantic overload. It happens when a term or phrase holds multiple meanings, or it's overloaded with multiple meanings. It's easy to jump back and forth between meanings or interpret someone's opinion through the lens of multiple meanings of the phrase. But when we are not clear about what definitions we are using, it can be a double-edged sword. In fact, this is exactly the same issue that Don Lemon and Terry Crews argued over in response to a controversial tweet that Crews made, saying,
"We must ensure Black Lives Matter doesn't morph into Black Lives Better."
The thing, it's a great mantra. It's a true mantra. Black lives do matter. But when you're talking about an organization, you're talking about the leaders, you're talking about the people who are responsible for putting these things together.
I got you.
When you look in the city of Chicago, there are 9 children who died by gun violence, by black on black gun violence. The Black Lives Matter movement has said nothing.
The gun culture in this country is prevalent, but I don't understand what that has to do with a movement that's for equality for black people. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. It's not an all-encompassing. So if you're talking about, if someone started a movement that said, cancer matters, and then someone comes in and said, why aren't you talking about HIV? It's not the same thing.
Terry Crews wants to be certain that the Black Lives Matter movement spotlights all black lives being lost, while Don Lemon is attempting to explain that it's specifically about the black lives being lost to police brutality. Again, the confusion comes down fundamentally to the different definitions that both men bring to the phrase Black Lives Matter. So whenever you see the phrase painted on a sidewalk, or someone starts a conversation with you about the issue of race relations in the country, instead of screaming polarizing phrases that demonize anyone who disagrees with you, start by asking the question, what do you mean by Black Lives Matter, or All Lives Matter? It may just get you a miraculous thing. A peaceful and constructive conversation. And maybe, just maybe, you might just learn something. If you are curious to know how many black lives are being lost in America and what the data-driven solutions are to address it, be sure to check out our next video. We are dedicated to keep having the conversations that need to be had in this country. And if you want to keep these conversations coming, go to our website and buy us a coffee to keep this content coming. Until next time, be sure to do less yelling and more thinking. I wish I had muscles like this fella. Whoa, whoa, get it, Jared. Because you know what's been constructed right now? His muscles. Ah, judgment is nigh. I can smell my B.O. I can't even smile straight. Indians are outraged like Pocahontas everywhere.